and welcome back to Shoogly Shed Motors. We're getting back on the Yamaha XJR1300 project. Whew, it's nearly been a year. I'm not sure I can remember where I left off, but first things first, let's get out of hibernation and get it up on the stand. Alright, here she is in all her glory. This is, if you don't remember, 2002 Yamaha XJR1300. Now, as you can see, I'm midway through the project. So let's see if we can kind of recap the things that I've done to it so far. Right, starting back here, we've got the new wheels, the spoked wheels. Whole saga to get them fitted. Go and check out the old footage if you haven't already. And I still have a little bit more work to do on some of the spacers for the back wheel. The front wheel's all done, but the back wheel needs a bit more work. Under these lovely wraps, we had the original Öhlins shocks restored. That's why they're all wrapped up, because they're pretty much factory fresh now. Again, there's videos on them, so check them out if you've not seen them. We've done some lovely little foot pegs. Again, there's a video on them. Engine, there's a video on that too. That's going to need a rebuild of some kind. Not entirely sure whether top and bottom or just the top. Then we have the tank. Again, more episodes on the tank if you go and check them out. Monza cap fitted, a bunch of bodywork done to the tank. These are temporary bars just to get it back up in the stand, because I stole the bars that I had for my XS250 over there. We've modified the top yoke here. We've got this cool little bracket here that holds a speedometer and a headlight. That's the front wheel. Oil cooler. Not much else done to the front end, to be honest. Lots more to do, obviously. But I think that's pretty much, oh yeah, and the seat hoop, just standard sort of cafe racer seat hoop. I'm pretty sure that's the sum of it. I don't think I got any further than that. So I guess I need to take stock and figure out where I need to pick up. It's kind of funny, like with the VMAX, it was a really complicated bike and a really complicated build, and everything on it kind of challenged me and pushed my boundaries of what I thought I was capable of doing to motorbikes, and every turn I felt like everything just needed that little extra thought. And obviously it's like a water-cooled engine, it has a lot more complicated electronics to do with the V-boost systems and all that, but it meant that I learnt loads. I learnt loads about, you know, different fabrication techniques, and then also like the electrical side of it was a huge kind of steep learning curve, very steep learning curve. And then add to that all that knowledge that I've learned, and then add to that the new skills that I have with regards to like my welding. I was just having a quick look at some of the welds that I did on this a year ago, and I think I'm going to grind them off and or maybe cut some bits off and re-weld them, just because I know I can do better this time. So I think that's funny. Back then I'm pretty sure I was chuffed to bits with those welds, but now I'm like, oh, I can do way better. Especially now that I've got the TIG welder as well, there's a huge potential lying in that. So yeah, I'm really excited to get back into this bike, get back into this build, and yeah, like I say, it's been a year, and I feel like I have improved and progressed massively in that time. So if I can take those skills and knowledge and apply it to this build, I think it will be my best yet. And the plus side being it's going to be my bike this time, which I'm even more excited about. I'm not going to rush it. I don't have the funds to rush it, let alone the inclination. I want to take my time with it, make a good job of it, and it'll be sort of my big bike for keeps, which I'm super excited about. Anyway, without further ado, I think what I'm going to do is have a look at that sort of seat hoop area, because I'm just not entirely happy with it. I don't think I did, well, I didn't do a very good job of welding it on in the first place, but then also I think it's a bit unimaginative. So I'm going to have a think about redesigning that, and I think I know what I'm going to do. So I'm quite excited to see if that will work and what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, Ewan, why did you cut the seat hoop off? Well, a number of reasons. First one being the welding on it is atrocious. I know I can do way better than that. Not only that, but it's really porous, and that wouldn't really be good enough. It does have slugs joining the two tubes together, but even so, no, not happy enough with that. I've also had a change of heart as to the rear hoop. I would like to do something more complicated, and for that what I've done is I've cut these channels out of their existing frame under the shot mounts here. So the shot mounts are going to basically stay original more or less, and we'll sort of tie back into them. The plan is, if you imagine this somewhat, to have a bit of a, it's hard to do it with this to be honest, but to have a bit of a quite steep step here and then another flat across here. So a kind of flat bit up here and then a quite a steep drop down. And the seat will sort of be on two levels with a kind of ridge in the middle. The point about that is, so I did have this, right, which would have come up at the back, but with a bike this powerful, you need to be able to push your bum into something, into the seat. And with a flat seat, even with a kick up at the back, I could see myself sort of slipping back quite a lot on the seat. So hopefully, if I can build up a seat that goes up steeply here and to here, I'll have this little hump almost to push into. And if that steps up to here, you'll have a flat here, not a cowl or anything, just a flat piece of seat here for if I ever want to carry a pillion or a passenger, they can just ride up on that section at the back. It'll also add just a little bit more weather protection from the back wheel. Probably going to have some kind of mud guard of sorts as well, either something encompassing the wheel or something coming off the back, don't know yet. But that is kind of a start. That's the first time I've broken the TIG welder out onto a bike frame. It's not terrible. I'm not going to be earning thousands doing neat stacked dimes just yet, but you've got to start somewhere, and it's a hell of a lot better than the MIG welding I'd done on the previous hoop. So the next thing to do is to start cutting up and shaping some bends in order to get this shape. First thing I had to do is to get some more tube. I probably will be able to use the back part of this seat hoop. If I just cut it off about here, I'll be able to use that back part for the top section. But yeah, that's a sort of visual, I suppose, of where I want that seat hoop to end up. I may end up messing about with this a little bit more just as a trial run. What I've also done is this was 5mm steel, 5mm bar that I've downgraded to 3mm. I think someone commented when I put the 5mm in that was way overkill, and you're right, it is overkill. So I've replaced that 5mm with 3mm. Every gram counts, you know. So I need to get some tube next and have a go at kind of shaping that back end. Okay, so this is just showing up in the post. All it is mild steel, 25mm, 2mm wall, and I've got a metre of it. Basically my plan is to try and make the bent step sections up to the pillion hoop out of this and weld all the parts together to make that up. I just remembered that I have my induction heater, and that might actually do the trick perfectly. So I'm going to basically clamp some of this in the vise, induction heat a section of it, and test to see how that bend works, if it works. And if it does, then that's probably what I'm going to go for. So first things first, I'm going to mark this a little bit just to get a rough idea where I'm going to bend, warm it up, and then have a go. Before you say sweet custom handlebars, I'm about to cut them up. that tacked on, that's pretty much the seat hoop finished for just now. I'll do the rest of the welding when the bike's been stripped and I can flip it upside down and get into the slightly more tricky bits to get into. Aside from that, that's nice and solid, and I'm really happy with that step, that wee gradient. Yeah, onwards with the rest of the build now, because that's one little niggly bit that was annoying me. That's been sorted. Now all I can do is move on to the endless list of jobs that this bike has to do. I feel like my stride has been struck now with the XJR, and I'm going to keep kind of plodding on with the build. Like I've said a couple of times, I'm not trying to rush this build, but I'm quite excited about it, so I do have that motivation to just keep ticking off as many jobs as I can. You may have noticed behind me, appeared halfway through the episode, a pile of parts. That's a Honda CB400 that I picked up for a song from an old friend of mine. It will be a project at some point in the future, but I'm not digressing from the XJR just now, so that's kind of where I'm storing that, if you're wondering. Don't know what we'll do with it yet, haven't even thought about it, literally just piled the parts up, and I'll come to that when I feel like it. Yeah, but aside from that, I feel like I'm kind of getting a little bit more like my head round TIG welding and the differences and the advantages and maybe disadvantages to it compared to MIG. It's good being able to like really precisely weld stuff on the bike, like for example with the tyre exposed, and not be too worried about like splatter. Like with MIG, you're almost definitely going to get some splatter onto that wheel and screw it up, so it's nice to actually feel a bit more confident that the TIG is quite precise and quite clean and neat. Not saying my welds are neat, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it's definitely going to be an invaluable tool to have, so yeah, I'm excited about that journey and that kind of pathway that I have to explore and to improve upon. Anyway, that's enough for this episode. Not sure what I'm doing in the next one, but like I said, I have plenty of jobs to be getting on with, a seemingly endless list, so don't worry, there will be plenty more content coming up shortly. As usual, please do give me a like, leave me a comment, and make sure you subscribe to the Shoogly channel. I'll see you next time. Take care. Goodbye.